Well, that's how it was earlier out and about in London. The formal celebrations have now come to an end. They're parting about now in Buckingham Palace. But we put together our own party table to discuss what today might tell us about modern Britain. Joining us for a toast are the musician and activist Billy Bragg, Jude Kelly, artistic director of the Southbank Centre, the writer Laurie Penny, and Sho Backen, the CEO of Centrepoint, the first charity of which Prince William became patron. He was a guest at the wedding, and what a good place to start. How many other black people were there in the wedding?
I don't know. I didn't count.
Yeah, but did you see any who weren't diplomats?
I saw a few who weren't diplomats, yes.
Oh, well, so it was a very diverse crew.
I wouldn't say that. That's not what I said. I said I saw a few.
I mean, that is something which David Starkey, the historian, raised earlier in the programme, that though the crowds were very diverse, the Britain depicted inside the Abbey, was it Britain?
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? Because we at the Southbank Centre are just doing the history of the last 60 years. We're doing the celebrations of the Festival of Britain, 51 to 2011. And Britain has changed incredibly in that time. And if you look at the festival of portraits that we're building up over these 4 months, you'll see people from absolutely everywhere who are British. And this morning when I went on my bike to have a look at the crowds at about 8:30, they actually did represent that. I felt that they really were London in all its world glory. But then when you looked at the wedding, you thought, oh, I see, hold on a second, this is as it ever was. And I thought that was quite confusing to have an image of Britain being right across the world that suggested that nothing really had changed or should change.
Billy Bragg?
I think it's probably private education. I think that's where the class line really is in this country. If you have gone to private school and gone on to university, the chances are you are going to have a smaller group of friends. It's as simple as that. But the crowds in the mall, whether or not that means that we're a nation of monarchists, I really doubt that. I think, you know, we all celebrate Christmas together, yet you wouldn't say we're a nation of practising Christians. I think today has been a day for a party. It didn't rain, how fabulous, and I think everyone's just taken it for that.
Somebody described it to me as people wanting a reason to come together to exercise community, to be together.
Well, it's a cup final in a couple of weeks, so they'll be able to do it again.
Well, it can be football sometimes.
Yeah, but I think that actually what I got from the Mall was people's need to feel affectionate to each other, to something, and they were jaundiced by the idea of their leaders as politicians, and they wanted a different kind of investment. That doesn't equal necessarily finding a satisfaction in the end from it being the monarchy, but they were looking for it anyway.
Laurie, you do a bit of jaundice.
Well, I mean, clearly people in this country really, really want something to feel good about at the moment. But what I found curious is this sense of, you know, like here with the little cupcakes, this sort of retro, oldie-worldy Britishness. You know, people have been saying to me, oh, it's just like VE Day, you know, these street parties and all the bunting. Well, actually, there's this sense of, you know, frantically looking back to an age where we felt more secure about things. And actually, I think for a lot of people...
But is that inside or outside or both?
Inside, I think it's the case for a lot of people in this country. But there's this sense that, you know, the past was really great, but I think a lot of people feel like they don't have very much to look forward to at the moment. You know, the future's very uncertain, so this sort of frantic recrudescence, this collection of curios from our past. And of course, the royal family are, you know, our most treasured curio of all.
Well, I think there are some things from the past that are absolutely worthy of holding on to. I don't think we should simply chuck out the past because we want a new future. Look, 30 years ago, there weren't 80,000 young people who are homeless. This year, there will be 80,000 young people that are homeless. That's the shape of the country we've got now.
Yes, of course, so you're not going to solve that crisis just by having a wedding, are you?
No, we're not going to solve that crisis by having a wedding. What I'm saying is that we can't ignore the past because we want to create a future. We create a future built on the past. That's how we evolve. And there are some things about the past that are really good we should hold on to. We shouldn't just chuck everything out. And that's the point that I'm making.
But how much evolution was going on in this wedding?
Well, you can focus on the wedding, but I think
that's what people were.
The bigger picture is how much evolution is going on in the country as a whole, and to what extent is that affecting the shape of our government, the shape of how we're led, and so on and so forth. But that's the wider issue.
One of the immediate things that struck me is the fact that Catherine Middleton will be known as Princess William. She's had to take his name. No, it's a shame really today because I don't know if you know.
The Duchess of Cambridge.
Yeah, well, on that point today is Duke Ellington's birthday, and it would have been I think it would have been really nice if the Queen had made them Duke and Duchess of Ellington. It would have been a nice kind of tap to our American,
awfully close to Wellington.
Our American friends. I think would really enjoyed that.
Can I just make this point, right, which is that supposing Britain is comfortable with a monarchy, just supposing that you've believed that that is the case, then the issue is how does the monarchy best talk about itself so that the country stays in tune with the monarchy. And a question then is, with this huge symbolism of this, what isn't a private wedding, it's an enormously public display of romantic pageantry, which they do brilliantly. You know, did they display the things that Britain wants to be thought of now and seen to be doing now? Did they get it entirely right? It was faultless, but was it right in terms of the display that was put on?
Well, this is absolutely the case, isn't it? This is a spectacle. It's a spectacle society. We're presenting an image of Britain and how we want to see ourselves and also how we want the world to see us. Because, you know, a lot of the crowds in the mall today were not from the UK. They were tourists who'd come across specially. And, of course, America has gone nuts for this wedding. You know, they've got Princess Diana's wedding dress going all over the country.
But you just said a spectacle of how we want to present ourselves. Surely this was a spectacle of how the monarchy wants to present itself.
Well, no, it's changed. I
they could have gone down. They could have joined me on my bicycle.
The last royal wedding, I think Princess Diana was clearly a sacrificial lamb to the royal family's way of doing things. She was almost the sacrificial virgin. This couple have been living together for 8 years. They have a much more ordinary life. I mean, you know, apart from the fact that obviously their backgrounds are different to most people, but their relationship has been surprisingly ordinary, and I hope that bodes well for them because I mean they're going to be under such intense spotlight in the coming years.
I think there is a schism, isn't there, between people who are completely indifferent. I mean, one of my children rang up and said, "What is all this? You know, I don't even know these people." And then there's others who have actually grown up as if they were their family. You know, you don't see them very often, but they're always seeing them over and over and over again. And so, you know, it's very hard not to be involved with the fact that Fergie didn't come and, you know, why didn't they invite Tony Blair? In fact, why didn't they invite Tony Blair and Gordon Brown?
It's another edition of The Archers.
In some respects, you are. But the one thing I thought as well was that if you're going to talk about family as a very major symbol of what Britain believes in, unconditional love is what I think families do. And so I was disappointed that some people were excluded because that's not what families should be.
Well, Jude Kelly, Shale Bacon, Billy Bragg and Laurie Penny, thank you all very much indeed. After the break, we're in